Everyone's the last couple of years.
Yeah.
She's all mad.
There's
It's a hammerhead.
Okay, it's 5:30. We'll bring the Streets and Drainage Committee to order. Bob,
Yeah.
ready?
First thing on the agenda is we had an employee transfer in. Dave Pennington retired and we had an opening. And Doug Hughes transferred in from the wastewater plant. And I was gone last week, so I talked to him a couple of days there. Talked to Chris a little bit today. Said he's doing a good job, so we're anxious to see how that all works out. But it looks like things are going well right now. So we do have a new employee in the street department. With that, Chris Lawson has taken over for Dave Pennington. And of course, when either you get a new supervisor or a new department head, you have new ideas, and Chris has a lot of ideas that he's ready to implement, and even some equipment or some things that he would like to do. And if you have noticed, on some of the streets, Licking View Drive and South Fork, they said they did today, but we kind of did a trade with Granville Township. I think his name was Trevor. He used to work for the street department a long time ago. Now he's the head of Granville Township Street Department. And we have a decent relationship with them, and they let us use their boom mower, which extends out, and you can cut limbs on trees, you can mow grass behind guardrails, you can mow hills, you can do all sorts of stuff. So we're going to do a little trade with them. They might use their Durapatcher later on or anything else, but this thing really helped us. And if you go down Licking View Drive, you can kind of see what they've done. Should have taken before and after pictures, but it'll look a little rough now, but if we can keep it up, it might be something we could get from Granville Township every year. He had to go to the trustees and ask for that, but they gave him permission. So I think that's a good thing when you can trade equipment or trade things within cities or townships to help each other. So we're hoping to keep it a couple more weeks. We may have to say that we lost the keys to it to keep it. So, but we're going to try to keep as long as we can and get as much done as we can. So
Brad, who is our
was
our most recent hire before Doug moved in. He had come to us after having previously worked in this capacity for one of the townships in the county. And he had experience operating a boom mower. So he was able to just get in it and go.
Wow.
And Chris said he did a really good job with it.
And Brad also did. He said, well, I might as well get some for us. Really happy with him.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, with
budget can, and some things that he wants to try to do. So I'm kind of excited for the street department. Appreciate what Dave did, but anytime you have someone new, they all have their own different ideas. So I'm willing to sit down and listen to him.
Well,
Yeah.
will Chris still do the fogging?
Yes. I mean, he can decide, but usually a lot of the times the foreman will do that. Dave did it sometimes. I think Chris did it sometimes, but he can decide whether he wants to do that or not. Or give it to somebody else.
He was the only one who was actually licensed, correct?
He's like, you don't have to be licensed to do it. You just have to have someone that has a license that can monitor to do the reports and stuff. But he is licensed.
Guy, right?
He is licensed. Right. But you don't have to be licensed to fog. You just have to have somebody. It used to be Dave Brenner used to have a license for the whole city.
Well, you do have to have a license for the spray, don't you?
No.
The license, it allows you to oversee the program.
Okay, all right.
Because there's reports, weather,
Yeah,
wind,
yeah.
all that kind of stuff. Leaf pickup is going to be November 17th and 18th. And again, just put your leaves.
Out front, we were picking them up. I don't have the, I think we've said.
Biodegradable bags are
Well,
definitely
we don't
preferred.
require, but that would be great.
Definitely
Yes.
preferred.
Yeah. And
We don't, I think they say no bags over 35 pounds. We have people, and this is, it may be a little exaggeration, but put them in bags as big as this table. Because they can get it from fiberglass or somewhere. Heck, I don't know where. They can get them and they fill them all up and then try to pick one of those things in a dump truck. So we try to save at least 35 pounds or less and have them out front. What usually happens, we go around the first day, people, see, so we have to really go through the city again, even though we've hit that area. We usually have to go through. Or if you hear someone that didn't get their stuff picked up on the first day, or they forgot to put it out, it's time to put it out the next day.
Just a little later date than normal.
No,
Mid-November.
about the same.
Okay. I mean, I think that's good.
Yeah.
I ran into it. We set dates and there's still leaves on the trees.
Well, I think,
Here's the problem, and I'll use my yard as an example because I had to do it this weekend, and so it's fresh in my mind. I have maple trees, and it's such a night in which those leaves are coming down. But then I also have oak trees, and they won't come down probably for another 2 or 3 weeks. So I have 2 or 3 rounds of leaf dealing with, in my yard. And obviously we can't, have crews going out every week handling the leaf pickup. But I think mid-November is a good target for that.
then we start to run a little bit of guys taking some time off for deer season and things, so this kind of works out. I think we used to have it 3 days, but we don't have as many people, just don't put them out like this. So that, did Chris, have we put that in the water bills, or I wonder if,
I don't know that we have.
I think he's talked to Jen about it, but I'll check that.
Okay. That would be something that we would want to put
Could you put it
there
on
in the box on the side of the bill, and then also let's use the city's Facebook and Twitter accounts to get that information out.
Yep.
Chris, I would say, wasn't Pennington's biggest strength, or one of his biggest strengths was when you have inclement weather, figuring out what to put down first.
Dave, you said?
Pennington, wasn't he pretty good at that?
Yeah, I mean, he had 30 years of experience.
Right. Is Chris going to be up to speed
No,
with that? Okay.
Chris has been in that department off and on for a long
8
time.
years. Yeah. And
I think he's a bright young man.
it's kind of by committee a little bit when you do that stuff, because you have guys that have been there 10, 15 years, like Hobbs and those guys. They know how to do it. It's not like we hired somebody outside that never had any experience with street plowing or that. These guys would know what to do.
Sand versus brine water versus salt versus all these different variables that go to.
The thing that we had to work through between when we had Pat Riley there and Dave, they just had different philosophies of, we found out that we weren't having someone on the east side like all the time, which is Blue Jay and areas like that. And we just had to tweak that. They were taking guys off of there and sending them to other places sometimes. We kind of found out we have to keep someone there all the time to keep Blue Jay Hill basically open. So it's those kind of management decisions, and I think Chris will be good at that.
Good.
And we all talk about it anyway too. Like I said, it's a little bit by committee. We're going to have a leader. The irrigation system is being installed in the medians. I think it was yesterday that they did some work out there. They put in the pipe, and they have to wait for the glue to dry before they can test it, and they'll turn the water on and test it. And then they will do take out the backflows and do the winterizing of that area for the winter. and then they will again come back in the spring and put the backflows back in for us. And there's a fee we can pay that at the Shai house for the winterizing. Getting it started, it's just easier for that to do. That could be where we get trained maybe to do something early in the year, but we're going to let them do it in the fall and then again in the spring, get it all set up. And then that will be working out there. Should help us a little bit as far as watering those plants. And the plants were looking pretty bad when I left, and I really haven't went down 79, I don't think, since I've been home that way. So.
It's a little torn up now because they put those in.
Right. And that's why we kind of waited this long.
It's cold. Yeah, it's cold. You're not going to get any more blooms on those, and yeah, they're annuals.
So showcase, probably their next thing they'll do is they'll just pull those out, and the only things we'll have left are the rose bushes, and we have a few shrubs in there, but it'll look kind of barren compared to what it did, and then we'll just have to decide next year if we want to do the same or we want to do a different pattern or color. Or, again, my feminine side will come out on that, and I'll work that out. Well, we tried that, and most of them die. That we just think with the annuals, it just makes it easier. It does cost some money, but we tried the perennials, and it just didn't work.
Hey, those knockout roses, if you've got some kind of excess mulch, you can put that over because real cold like last winter, it killed mine. Now, I didn't stand, but that ain't covered by that. If you put mulch over it.
Yeah, now we'll let we hired Showcase to do a lot of that stuff, but they're pretty good at that. And I thought they did a pretty good job of getting things ready this year.
Yep.
Things turned out pretty good, I think.
Absolutely.
See, I already talked about the boom mower. Tim asked me when I came in, and I did have it on my, I didn't have it on your agenda, but I thought it was today. I called Chris, and the rest, not 100%, I would say, of all the signs were maybe about 90% of them are in. Before they do the rest of the street signs in the city. And some of those are going to be going up. We don't have, the posts haven't come in yet, but the signs had come in. It just took forever to get them done. And let's hope they're all right. It's something else. But most of them are in, and I think Dave had to order a few more, because I don't think we still have a sign up there at that Kroger's where we have no right turn. You remember that? If you come out the back of Kroger's, somebody wanted a sign there.
Yeah.
No right turn because they didn't want to try to make that turn on Dorsey Mill.
Yeah, trying to make that right hand
we
turn
didn't
on
have that,
Dorsey
so Dave had to order that sign. So that's we're waiting for that to come in.
Yeah.
We are getting some estimates on some other problems that we've had at the street department that just haven't been addressed. We have one of our outbuildings that we're having a drainage problem with, where water is getting in and has drained out the back of the building. It's that kind of pole building we have on the left. Well, when you come into the street department, it's on the right-hand side. But we need new concrete in there, so we're getting estimates on that. And it's a possibility we might be able to do that within my budget by the end of the year. But some of that water is getting in, we have to divert it around the edge of the building. And then we're getting some estimates for capital improvements next year. The roof on the old firehouse needs to be replaced, so we're getting estimates on that. That's where we do that. Well, it's where we do the painting. It used to be at the fire station at the street department. It's right. The one be right next to the dog. It was a dog pound. I don't know. Is it still a dog pound?
No, yeah, it was the Humane Society. Now it's that guy's going to have that sports collectibles business.
New roof and painting,
No, just a new roof.
just new
New
roof.
roof. And then we're getting some estimates on some other things that we're going to have to go with capital improvements. I think that's all I have. Unless somebody has something else.
Any questions for Bo?
I don't have questions, I just have something that I think it fits in this area. My name's Teresa McGinnis and I live on Heath Road, and I just want to tell you what I witnessed that bothers me. I witnessed several scary and unsafe attempts by pedestrians of all ages to cross 79 between Kroger and Clark Road. This section of road has no crosswalks or signals to tell pedestrians when to cross. Our elderly from Bill Mitchell Retirement House use Dorsey Mill Road light to cross 79 with their wheelchairs, trying to get access to Bob Evans' Duke gas station for convenience items. Our youth run across 79 to the suicide lane, the middle lane, and then cross the remaining lane to get to Taco Bell, Jimmy John's, and Duke gas station. Adults and youth walk down Heath Road to cross 79 to get to their employment, go to the mall, or other businesses located on 79. These schools have been locked down 3 times since the start of the school year. 2 of these times have involved the bike path. Students are told to avoid the bike path and take alternative ways to get home. There is no alternative way to cross 79 safely if you don't use the bike path. Our students, adults need the crosswalk reinstalled at Heath Road to cross 79 to Dorsey Mill Road. The crosswalk was in existence once here. Why was it taken out? Do you have studies to show why this crosswalk was removed? Please reinstall the paved crosswalk with working signals or build a pedestrian bridge across 79 in this busy section.
So this area, this would be like where the BP is and where now it's bank. It used to be Dr. Kruger's location there. That's the intersection that you're talking about. Right? And you're saying that it. Teresa, you're saying that there used to be one there, is that correct?
Yes, there used to be a school there.
Oh, so when the intersection was redesigned, was that when the crosswalk was no longer there?
And I think they ended up taking it out because of the school not being there anymore. But I can see your point on that, because when I was a kid, I crossed there all the time. I lived on Dorsey Mill and I crossed. Of course, my parents didn't really care. They just, well, he'll make it.
Let him roll the dice.
I certainly see your point.
And that was when he laughed. They're great. Yes.
We would need a lot more crosswalks at 79, but it's been told that we don't want to encourage people to cross the road. So I don't want to cross it either, but you have to. I agree with you.
You have a lot of crosswalks from,
You need it.
I'm going to say 30th on down, but you don't have nothing on this side of town.
The idea of a footbridge, I think in that general vicinity, maybe a little farther north, was something that was looked at. And, I'll be honest with you, I would think it would be highly doubtful that a footbridge would ever be able to be built there. And this would be maybe a primary reason. The Americans with Disabilities Act would require, obviously, that footbridge be fully accessible for wheelchair-bound people and the like. The height of the bridge as you're walking across, in order to accommodate semi-trucks that are on 79, and you're going to have it at yay height. I would think that just the cost of right-of-way acquisition on that stretch of the road, and it's obviously a fairly valuable property in view there for commercial use. I would think that the right-of-way acquisition costs, in order to be able to allow for a ramping type system that would allow wheelchair-bound people to be able to get up to that level and then cross, and then of course come back down the other level, might make a project like that cost prohibitive.
Mark, most of the soil from that side of the creek all the way up to 30th Street is up the makeup that it will not support that. That's why we had to kill the other one.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, you can't get down deep enough to put in anchors, keep the bridge from moving.
Too much topsoil layer there?
No rocks.
Oh, well. Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Being like a marshy bog there.
Yes.
We had the Millennium Bridge was designed to go across 79, and then the FAA wouldn't let us build it because they were afraid the plane would crash into it.
Oh, is that right?
So we couldn't go up and everything there, but it was designed like, I forget how many pylons and stuff was in it to support and everything. It was going to go from back, keep mine and everything, but then it was canceled because we weren't allowed to put it in there because of the flight path of the planes and stuff. So
Clear zone count.
yeah.
Yeah, the crews like, okay, I was everything like that, weren't allowed to have it in there and stuff. And then, there was, I talked, well, John Groff did a lot of work on it and stuff back then and everything, but, the idea then of a tunnel or something down through there, but then it was the deal, like he said, about the ground and everything. But the other was you'd have to have a sump pump pretty much running all the time to try to go down low enough because, you know, you have that run through there and stuff and everything in that area. Maybe a different area, it may not be as bad and stuff, but, you know, it's one of the deals. You can go down and everything, but when you go down, you got water problems and stuff and everything, you know.
Yeah.
I don't
And then-
remember them saying anything of what you brought up, but that would be a big factor when you start making it. Because anytime you do that, you have to.
We're talking about what we can do, but her other suggestion was the crosswalk and having, you know, it painted and the signs so that, you know, like it used to be. Is that something that's a possibility?
Yeah.
And what
They-
do we look into that?
Well, they did away with that when they did the alignment because of the fact that, well, one was for timing of the lights and the amount of time you'd have to give for someone to cross and everything. It would just, you know, the flow of traffic. You can still do it. It's no problem doing it. It's just, you know, the amount of time to cross right there.
You want me to do research on it and get back?
You know, the thing of it is,
Look at it.
one thing that, you know, if we did some kind of a study or Bob check into it, that if a crosswalk has a button to it, that the only time the light is, you know, put into use
Yeah.
is when somebody wants to cross it.
Yeah.
If you press that button,
Yeah.
then it only holds the traffic for so long, and then it stays green for the traffic the rest of the time. I think maybe we can check into that. Yeah, for you. Okay.
That's a great idea. I just didn't realize there was that volume of foot traffic.
Hang out on my road.
Thank you. Oh.
A few years ago, I did some research. There were some grants out. I don't remember if it was state or federal, but Safe Path to School, I think, was something along that. And we didn't come close to qualifying any.
As a matter of fact, it's only been, Ronnie, it's only been about a year ago, I'd say. Now, I was working with Trevor Thomas, the superintendent of schools, and looking at trying to get some safe, paths to schools, grant money for the area around Garfield, and also for the like where the middle school is, where the bike paths are, and you have to cross. You have the at-grade crossing of Licking View right there. And yeah, we weren't even close. We didn't even come close to scoring well enough. Part of it is number of students. Part of it is need-based. Yeah, we didn't come close.
Does anybody have any numbers on like traffic fatalities in Heath? How many of them were pedestrian?
We should be able to get that information. Not like anybody necessarily would have it already compiled, but I would think something like that should be obtained. If you look back through police reports, I would think you'd be able to.
They do a report to the state. That's how
That's how we knew that 79 was so dangerous and did all that.
And that we had a
Pedestrian, they report pedestrian fatalities.
fatality over the median.
If I could-
Part of the cell on that part of
I think the
If I
traffic
could interject,
on 179 has increased to a point where to be justified now.
you know, this is another thing about the Route 79 that we get into what ODOT tells us that we can and can't do with that route. So, you know, we might be able to say, hey, we'd like to do that for the stoplight to get a crosswalk here, and ODOT may put a stop there. It's just like we'd like to have had some sidewalks down 79 when it was put in up there. And they said, no, you can't do that. So this is just another thing that, you know, that might be the holdup too. Okay. So.
a lot of jurisdictions involved.
Yes.
From airport authority to
Yeah.
city transportation.
Is there anything else? Okay.
I think it's an interesting concept to look at. I wonder if also one would think that when that intersection was redesigned and the decision was made to not have a crosswalk there, one would think that there'd be some sort of documentation as to why that decision was made to not replace that since it was there to begin with. Maybe the information. Maybe the information from back then. Maybe the information from back then on that project would shed some light.
You think Joe Sanderson might have recommended one initially?
It was not put in. I mean, at the time, it was because it was traffic flow and stuff really bad. And it was like, well, you don't need it. The school's gone and everything. Someone wants to go to the gas station, driving. That was what John said.
If they want to go over there, they can drive there. Well, they might have done a study to count. It just wasn't very, that's what its utilization was. And that changes.
The thing of it is, you get one of those lights that's controlled by that traffic. That's my kind of thing for traffic.
Well,
it will when somebody's trying to cross.
So every time someone pushes that and they get the light to cross, it'll stop the traffic for 25 seconds.
But you can find it that they can cross longer, right?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is 79 traffic will not be flowing for that 25-second minimum while a person's crossing. Well, it's got, okay? And right now, if there's no car, it might be like 15 seconds or something like that.
Do you know,
so
is that the minimum amount of time granted to cross a road that would be that wide?
That's probably the minimum. Like the one at Andover right now, Overland Andover, when they push that, it's 25 seconds.
Okay.
They'll get 25 seconds to cross.
Okay.
Now, I haven't measured the width. It's based on the length and walking at so many feet per second and all that kind of stuff. There's a minimum, maximum, and all that kind of stuff. But and you could probably put countdown. You'd have to put the countdown clock so that people know not to start after that.
It'd have to be like,
but the idea is you don't get someone stuck halfway out
right?
there.
With the beeps and the tweets and the whatever it is that you hear.
And it puts up the amount of time that's on there until it's going to change.
That's true.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because the road's so wide there.
I've seen ones like that, yeah.
And then the other thing, cross the other way to cross Heath Road. Depending on how you put it, do you cross once 79, both sides are one side, and then you cross Heath Road? You do this or that, and then where are they going once they get? It's not.
It's not just putting paint down on the road.
I mean, it's probably in the location of the poles are probably not right, so you have to put the ped poles in and anything. So you're probably looking at $4,000 or $5,000. I mean, you're probably looking at $25,000-$30,000 for crosswalks and lights and striping and everything.
And I don't know if we saved any of that stuff when we took it down or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it might have been on the other poles and stuff. Remember, they moved the arm from one side to the other. Remember, we moved it back. And
there's a lot to be checked into.
Bob, let's talk to John this week and let's see if maybe he still has the documentation from when that intersection was redesigned. And that would be a good place to start. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, with nothing else to report, we'll be done at 5:59.
All right, and we will call Park Recreation and Davis Shea to order at 5:59, and Bob, item repair damage to the park, July 6th.
Yeah, with the events we had in the park this year, unfortunately, we had rain that came with it. And the first was the Armed Forces Parade, and then the July 2nd, where we had the park people. It just left a lot of ruts in the park. And then over time it just gets worse, and then water sits in it, and so we had Showcase come in and take a look at that for us. And I think I had mentioned it to council that I may have to come in and ask for money, but what we did, it was less than $2,000 to fix it, and in fact the grass has come up great right now, so I did that within my budget. So that's just something that we took care of ourselves, and hopefully, because we've been doing this for a long time for the 4th of July, and really haven't had any trouble before, but this year we just had a very wet, I guess we had a wet spring, summer, and fall, it looks like right now. So that has been repaired, and the grass has come in great, and also during that time we waited for the gas company to reinstall a new gas line, which I had reported on. That has been done. They reseeded that area, which it's kind of good they did it, because they did a little bit of the area.
Yeah, they came down that side.
Yeah, so we had less to do. The worst part was when you come in the park and you went between those 2 pine trees on the right and parked down there. So we just fixed that up a little bit, makes it look nicer. So that is completed, and I did that within my budget. We had a request, which we try to do every year, but sometimes we don't get to it. But we sprayed the walking path at Geller Park. You can spray. It just seems like when you spray things anymore, it just doesn't last as long. But we sprayed the walking path at Geller Park, and also Craig hauled in new gravel, so the walking path looks really good at Geller Park. And we try to do that every once in a while. But we had I think the mayor took a complaint from someone that asked about that, so he took care of that. So that has been done at Geller Park. I'd like to have the whole thing paved that one time, but we'll probably never get that done. One of the other problems we've been facing, especially when Tim comes in and reports them to me, repairing boards on our bridges. And Craig likes to, when Craig has a project, he has a vision of how he can get it done, and then he takes what he needs and goes. Well, when it doesn't work out the way he has envisioned, it doesn't make him very happy. So then he has to tell me, and then he makes all these. He can fill up a board like that with all the drawings of why and how he couldn't do it the way he thought he should do it, and the way it should have been done. Okay, so he explained to me about the trestle, because when the bike path went through, we did the trestle. Well, if a board goes bad, you have the railing, all that stuff has to come off. And Craig, I guess, had never looked at that close before. He go, well, I'll just take the board off, put a new board in, that's it. No, it doesn't work that way. So he had to kind of do it different. He had to cut the boards, and so but he ran in trouble with all that kind of stuff. And then some of our new bridges, the one that goes from over Ramp Creek, which would be on the east side of 79, that bridge, we've had a couple bad boards. I think there's a bad board on the Pool Bridge now. And
the one right here?
Yeah.
The one we just did?
They're not treated boards.
Why do they strike these with pine boards, untreated?
It was either the cost or the recommendation of whoever.
Good.
Not me.
That was,
I'm looking for
I'm
accountability.
I'm just telling you.
that was an ODOT project.
Yeah.
I mean, is the accountability at ODOT? Is the
Right.
county with an engineer? Is the accountability?
Yeah, I was shocked to find out that they weren't treated properly. And then to get those boards out, that's a job too. So we're going to have to replace a lot of those boards right now.
Can we put treated lumber in place?
Craig's getting it. That's what he's doing.
I mean, that thing's not 5 years old.
Well, it's not every board, but there's
Untreated pine boards.
you can have a knot, and then the knot.
They're not weatherized. There's no paint on them, there's no protective.
That's easy, 5 years.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
So anyway, we are.
The
We
accountability.
could have only found a bridge on eBay or something.
Maybe we could sell
The
these
life
on
of those
eBay.
bridges
Wait.
is 30 years. The one I was looking at was 35.
Steel structure.
Or, I'm sorry, 15 years.
Well, I'm just living with what we got.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Craig had called me about it because we talk and everything about it, and the trestle. I think if you look at where the boards were bad, I think the steel support overhead, that gets cold and then moisture collects on it and then it drips. And the boards that were going bad are the ones that stay wettest the longest and everything. And you look at it, and then so I went after and looked at it and everything, and sure enough, it's like because it's like, why did these boards go and then not these? And you look at it, and it's exactly everywhere.
They're the ones getting dripped on.
They get dripped on and stuff over and over and over again, and it stays just a little bit wet longer and everything. And these boards actually are rotting out. I mean, you can take your foot and go right down through them. And if someone would have been running and hit wrong, it'd be real easy to snap an ankle or leg or whatever. And now one section got really big, anything. So even like a bike tire or something would have gone through it. Fix it there, didn't they?
Well, you always walk, right, Tim? You don't want to race that by running.
Yeah, I'm thinking,
We play a game at the parks, booby trapping. Which board are we going to test?
I just jump up real high and see it. I give it a test, and everything, and it can withstand my pounding on there. So many feet, pounds per square inch.
So,
Someone had visions of Wile E. Coyote and some Roadrunner cartoons. Yeah.
But Craig has some prices, and we can do that within our budget. So we're going to start replacing some of those boards on our bridges. I guess we're talking about the bike path. Well, we are cleaning the bike paths. We got a new blower, and that's helping out. Though Craner said he did it today, and he got some complaints because people like to see the leaves.
Oh, come on.
Oh, that's
I want names and numbers. That's crazy.
That's
Crazy.
That's what he told me.
Yeah. I
He must
want
not like doing that.
That's what he told me. No, he likes it because this thing works, man. And it's not this back they don't blow as hard. This thing, it's not that big though. It's just on little wheels, but it works.
Is he getting down there where the mud is 2 inches deep on that little half circle?
So you're going to have to cut that off.
Got
Or
one
you're
off.
going to have to take a shovel or something with mud on it. You're not
Is
gonna
that
blow
not
it
the
off.
trainer?
Yeah, you can't blow mud off.
Well, and again, we may just have to abandon it because it's awful.
Well, you don't need to abandon it. You just need to maintain it.
Well, yeah, but every time we have a little bit of flood, it takes a lot of time to go out there and do that stuff. We want to hire me to come here.
Just pile enough leaves over it that it covers
Then we can't blow the leaves off.
Yeah. People love that, Jeff.
We have fought that down there.
I walked on all that Monday morning.
And
Friday morning.
the other place where we're going to have problems with mud will be down there by the Port Authority.
Oh, no
It's
doubt.
just, we can't get anything in there.
No doubt.
And
When the path is that far above the level of
I mean,
the
we
water.
might go down there and clear it off at the beginning of the year or something, but we just can't keep going back on it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe in the summer you can hose it off or something, hoping that you don't get much rain. But yeah, when the level of Grant Creek comes up, that
And that's
asphalt's
the
going
same
to
thing
get
with
water.
that area you're talking about, Jeff. It's just that water comes up, it just goes over top of that all the time. And we have cleared it off many
It's
times.
just silt and mud from the water. It's just.
Well, I'll have them look at it again, but I know it.
I don't. You don't.
Here's the
You
thing
get down
that
there twice a year and it'd be fun.
we had we put a bench in there, and a normal person at one time could sit on that bench. Now you can be 2 foot tall and your feet can touch the ground if you sit on that bench. Because that's how high the silt and everything has come up off of that river.
I'm saying maintenance periodically, not every week, not every month, but 2-3 times a year. I purposely walk down through there Friday morning just to see the condition.
And
It's the same as it is.
thanks for reporting that.
Still pathetic. still.
Take a shovel with you next time you go, Jeff. Put it in.
Put Crainer's initials in it.
Well, I can guarantee you, if the leaves fall again, they'll be over top of the bike path. So
That's not an issue. I mean, again, the point is, let's just, this time of year, I can't expect this clean, but make an effort, periodically. Whatever it is, can work within the budget, the time budget. I'm a very busy parks department, I understand. So let's at least make an effort.
I'll tell my guys that. Next thing is we're also going to try to use that boom mower on the bike paths, especially the place with Evans Foundation has given to us that goes to Hopewell Road. That's going to be a problem forever. So we're going to try, if we can keep this boom mower long enough, we're going to go down and try to clean that up as much as we can. Through this.
Is there enough room for it to get through?
Yeah. Yeah, you can drive vehicle back.
Okay.
And then we get that back far enough, and then maybe we'll have to do it for 3 or 4 years. So we're gonna try to do that. And then they have started the roof at Geller Park. Appropriate so much money for that to redo that roof, so that has started. We did have a truck go down. One of our pickups went down today. I think maybe with the fuel pump or something. So we're getting that fixed right now. And other than that, get ready for winter. That's all I have.
Okay, anybody have any questions, any concerns for the Parks, Recreation, and Davis Day Committee? Going once? Going twice? Adjourned at 6:11.
Are you ready for finance? Yeah. Everybody need a break.
Finance, you got one, so I got one drink. You know that drink?
So I got a copy, the one's copy.
You got one?
Who's got an extra copy?
If you don't have one, that's fine. That should be enough.
Nick has got a copy.
I got it.
We are now ready to move forward. 6:12, we'll call Finance Committee meeting to order. First item, appropriate $676.36 to reimburse the fire department for some supplies. What were they?
That was
Brian, what was that?
What happened is, we double paid an invoice to Staples, and so that Staples refunded the money. We double paid an invoice.
So it's in the general fund, we need to put it back into the line
Move it
item.
back around, okay.
I know you guys aren't used to making decisions about sums of money this large.
It's the massiveness of this agenda.
Spread it out, hold on to get all the interest as long as we can.
Any other questions?
This was fixing a challenge for Becky. They wouldn't refund it a certain way, or I don't know. It's fix it.
Other items, Heath.
Already reported the impound lot auction is coming up this coming Saturday, the 25th at 10 a.m. I believe there will be 31 or 32 automobiles, bicycles, and stuff from those vehicles. I understand that Detective Sergeant Black and Jimmy Jones were out today and indicated they went through all those vehicles today. And they said there wasn't much stuff in those vehicles this time. So that sale will be easily done by noon. Will be done before the last day. Absolutely. Several hours.
Yeah, they got a
8 o'clock. Penn State. Penn State.
At Penn State.
Is that an 8 o'clock start or a 7 o'clock start?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Is that the national ABC game?
I think so.
It's a little thin. Yeah, I guess I say I
Put away by now.
Big names.
Halftime.
Yeah.
Big names, not the Bulls.
And item 2 is I wanted to inform this body that I'm going to retire at end of this year. And I wanted to relay that information to give this body plenty of time to evaluate possible successors, maybe to allow some time for that successor, if he or she so chooses, to spend some time in the office. And it's been great working with the city all these years. And I'll eventually miss all of you.
December
I don't feel the
31st,
warmth.
is that going to be the official date?
Give you the time.
That'll be the official,
Decades.
that's nice and clean. And
While we're talking about this, since we have to replace Heath to fill out the rest of his term or whatever, since he's given us the notice, Keith and I talked before this, so that's, yeah, I thank Keith for filling me in ahead of time so we can talk about this, but always before, like when we replace council members and different things like that, we've done that several times and everything, is we usually like advertise that the position's open, give people a week or 2 weeks or whatever to send in a resume or a letter of what we call it, interest and everything. So what I thought we might do is go ahead and do something like that. Say that it's going to be available. People that are interested send their stuff in, and we can get that. See how many people apply or don't apply or whatever, and then we can decide whether we want to have interview all of them, a few of them, however we want to do that, and then get somebody, decide that that's going to be the person. That way that person could have a chance to come in here, maybe if we have that all done early November, mid-November, whatever, let's say, at least maybe all of December they could get in here and they wouldn't become official until, like January 1 or whatever, but at least that person could come in, maybe not every day, but a few days a week or something like that, and just kind of shadow Heath, and Heath could, that way they wouldn't be hitting it cold, anything. That's why I appreciate Heath giving us this advanced knowledge, because he could have just waited and all of a sudden said, be like, Terry, I'll see you next year. No, you won't, I'm gone, and we wouldn't know, so, and I appreciate the fact that he's, doing this.
thanks, Tim. I'm not moving away or anything. I've always thought transition was real important in my staff, in the tax, and in my office. I've thought pretty carefully about succession and so forth. And after the first of the year, whoever it is, if I need to come in for a day or two, a few hours, whatever, take a phone call, I'll make myself available. I think with Debbie being so tenured and Becky coming along so quickly, and the mayor too is now somewhat tenured, I think this will be a breeze for the right candidate. So.
So I think you're on the right track. I'd encourage council to have the appointment to fill Keith's term offered and hopefully accepted before Thanksgiving. I'd like to have, of course it would be up to that person. I would like to have that person be given the opportunity to shadow some in December. In that time frame, we will be either having just wrapped up or very, very close to having wrapped up the 2015 budget. So we could sit down with that person, kind of explain how that process works, how the basically the funding for the year is put together. I think it would certainly make it easier for that person than at the end of 2015, as we put together the 2016 budget, to have at least in the background gotten some sort of a familiarization with the process. Linda Richards has been just in I think in past months from time to time been in also to help Becky with a couple of things still. It's great having somebody like her who is local and can assist Becky if there's some sort of a hiccup or something that happens. And I would hope that perhaps Heath would be open to the same type of thing for whomever it would be that would be fulfilling filling the rest of his term as the auditor, because it's not something that you can pick up in a week or two. So.
Keith, your term expires 2016.
It expires March 31st of 16. So this would be 15 months left on the term.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
Anything else? I'm gonna have to table the items table.
Item number one, if you can make it any bolder, it needs to be.
It needs to be done now.
I mean, I think you bring up the topic of whomever it is that you appoint to fill the remaining term that Heath has as auditor. I would hope that whoever it is that you appoint would have the intention of them running for the next term. And I think knowing item number one would certainly help that person make up their mind. So I would encourage that.
Where do we stand on the police contract?
I need an executive session.
Okay.
We're at the finish line.
I can do that right now, then, if you're ready.
Executive session. Do you have anything else?
Anything else?
The other tabled item, I'd like to see this body act on before I leave you. There's some really low-hanging fruit in there. There's a number of things in regards to that. Yeah, I mean the one that I want to push on behalf of my staff in tax and in my office, prohibiting those people, and some of which live in other counties, from running for a office of some sort that is not contradictory of any kind to their work here. I think it's it's unreasonable.
They wouldn't even be able to run for school board.
They can't run for school board in their
home district.
Yeah, and
That's ridiculous.
So why don't we act on it? What are we waiting for?
I don't know.
You guys,
I do too.
I was waiting on the contracts to get done so it didn't interfere with their stuff and everything, and those contracts kept dragging out forever and stuff like that. I said that way back when we first started contract negotiations.
I don't think that.
Anyway.
Well, let's we'll wrap up finance committee meeting, and I'll make the motion to go into executive session for purposes of union bargaining.
I'll go get some stuff. So there's a motion.
Second.
Is there a vote?
Yes. All in favor?
I just voted.
I'll be back.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Nothing aside.
You know that workout side?
Yeah.